Content creation, audience building, sales, and marketing are huge pieces of building an online business, and specifically a course-based business. But one of the things that people never talk about is what happens after the sale. And if you're not prepared for what happens after the sale, well, you might be in a shock when you finally start bringing on customers. So if you want to figure out how to do that and streamline it, well, keep on listening to this week's episode. Hi, I'm Brandon Lucero, and you're about to experience the new way to thrive in business, entrepreneurship, and life by leaning into who you are, what you love, and standing up for what you want to create. Get ready, because this is where we go against the grain, say no to outdated society norms, and we say yes to change in order to create a happier, more fulfilled world. Welcome to the New Generation Entrepreneur Podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the New Generation Entrepreneur Podcast. Today we have an amazing episode. We have an amazing guest. We're going to talk about things that I feel like most course creators often either don't realize or they forget, and it's a vital part of your business. And so today I brought on a special guest, a very good friend, someone who I've become very close with over the last couple of years, and someone who helps James Wedmore inside of his business. And we're going to talk all about that. And that is Mr. Josh Cedeño. Welcome to the podcast, man.
Hey man, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm really excited to have you on. And I obviously know what you do, and I know what you do for Team Wedmore and what your role is over there. And it is an incredibly important role. And I think it's a role that is so overlooked by a lot of course creators. So do you mind just telling everyone a little bit about you and what you do?
Sure. So my title at Team Wedmore is the Director of Customer Success. And to sum that up for everybody in one line and make it really easy, it's everything that happens after the sale in the business. So we kind of have in our business that broken down into 4 different departments. The first one's like live events, virtual or in person, so it includes things like the coaching calls too. And as you can imagine, since COVID, like everybody's probably business in this industry, it's evolved quite a bit. We were doing 19 in-person events, I think, in 2019. Wow. And last year, I think we did 1.
Oh my gosh. Well, can I ask a question on that? I'm assuming, were those 19 events, were those revenue generating events or fulfillment events or all of it?
All of it. So that includes like team retreats and revenue events and events for all our programs. It was kind of a mixture of every single thing where we had to like host an event and find a venue and find food and do all the things that you got to do for an event.
Gotcha. And then a lot of those just went virtual this year?
Yeah, a lot went virtual, but nonetheless, I think we've been able to adapt and create some really great virtual experiences for our people. So, at the end of the day, if people are getting transformations, results, that's really what's most important to us.
Amazing. Cool. Okay. So you said there's 4 things. Events is one of them. What's the next one?
Yeah. The next one is we call it our customer experience. And that's just basically any customer onboarding, any updates to the programs that are needed, rebranding, contests, giveaways, getting case studies, testimonials, anything that has to do with creating an amazing experience for our clients. And we do have a manager at the head of that department, and her name's Caitlin, and she's amazing. Shout out to Caitlin. But right now, she is really focused on the BBD case study contest, and I know you probably know a lot about that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then what's next after that?
We have 40 coaches on our staff, so it's kind of
That's
it's
crazy.
a lot of coaches. But we have 40 coaches on our staff, so basically anything and everything that has to do with managing our coaches. We have coaches pretty much inside all of our programs, including Business by Design. They're there to support you kind of every step of the way. And that actually wasn't part of the original iteration of Business by Design, but it's kind of something we realized that was needed for our people.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Because you guys also have different levels of membership too. You have like your next level, you also have the standard BBD. And I would assume the higher the level, the more coaching is involved and support is needed. So I can, especially, with how your company's grown, why 40 coaches is necessary. That's crazy. And also you guys have an amazing process and coaching philosophy that James has developed too, which I'm sure a lot of people want to get in there and learn and be a part of as well. So after the sale, we have events, customer experience. You guys have a whole coaching army, for lack of a better word, and then and then you have there's a fourth component to after the sale.
Yeah, it's our customer support team, so that's kind of the fourth component there.
Okay, cool. Customer support. Okay, awesome. And then is your role to manage all of that, or what is your role specifically?
Yeah, I mean, specifically, we have managers in each of those departments. So we have a master head coach, and we call it the customer experience architect. Right now, we technically don't have a production manager for all the events and stuff. We used to, but just because of COVID and stuff, it's not as much needed right now. So I'm actually mainly working with each one of the department heads. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and this is something that I don't think a lot of new entrepreneurs really realize is a lot of them are so focused on the marketing and the driving of the sales and let me build the audience and let me convert. But I don't think a lot of people actually understand how much of a business needs to be set up on the back end, not only to make sure people are having a great experience, not only getting the results, all of that stuff, but there is a level of experience that you guys are talking about and let me ask you this. Why is experience so important to you specifically and also Team Wedmore?
Why is it so important? I would say it's just important because, well, we want to help our people. We want people to get results, and having a great experience is going to get your customers great results. Not only that, you don't think about it, but it kind of has an indirect marketing and sales impact as well. Because think about how many people are on the back end, and like how this industry, everybody's connected online, right? So if you take some amazing program, you're like, oh, I just took Brandon's 4X, or I just joined Business by Design, and it is the most amazing program I've ever been in. They're going to tell their 10 best biz besties, whether that's at a live event or virtual or whatever. So it's almost like, I don't want to call it like free marketing on the back end if you're giving your people a great experience. And then you add on top of that, like I said, those kinds of things are what we've found to help get our customers results. And I mean, that's the most important thing in the world to us.
Well, yeah. And I think that is so important, and especially in today's day and age, because there's a lot of like fly-by-nighters, people come in this space and they just honestly really care about just getting the sale. Like they don't really care what happens after the sale. And not only is that just not ethical, but number two, it creates an awful experience where the word gets out and people are like, yeah, don't join that person's program, or because it's a small circle. Like we all know whose program does what and whatever, and reputation is everything. But I also think what you guys do so beautifully, it's like a demand creation tool. I mean, when BBD Live is going on, there's people like waiting for the tickets to go on sale. It's not like you guys are scrounging around trying to hopefully get enough people to come in. People are literally like knocking the doors, waiting. Can I get a ticket for a friend? Like there's a whole demand creation because of the experience that you guys have created. I mean, that's correct, right? Like you guys feel that experience. You feel that inside of your company.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's what I just spoke to, is that like, there's so much like from the experiences we create, there's so much word of mouth. So
Right.
like by the time we're going to quote unquote sell, it's like, I feel like a lot of times it's a lot easier because people have already heard from other people and they're already doing the selling for us.
Right.
So by the time we are like, oh, the event's open, it's just like, there's already like, or BBD's open, whatever. There's already like thousands of people that like want to join. The demand's so high by the time we open it that it's like, we don't really even have to do as much, sales and marketing basically.
Right. Because the demand creation is already there. So I'm really curious. I want to kind of hear the story of how you came onto the company and where was the quote unquote after the sale department, so to speak, at when you first came on. So you tell us a little bit about how you came on to the company and where everything was at when you came in.
Well, actually, when I came on to the company about 6 years ago, I think there was only 4 of us. It was my wife, Jilly, and James, and Chelsea, James's wife. So we're a real small company. Like we've grown by 10 times the size revenue wise, and probably 20 times the size in like staff, like personnel, since I joined 6 years ago. And actually I started 2 hours a day in customer support for the product you and James used to have.
I'm just gonna apologize to you now, because that Local Video Academy, for those of you who don't know, is one of the very first programs that I created, and I did it with James. We were partners on it. But I was talking to Matt about that today, because Matt was actually a customer of Local Video Academy, and it brought in really great people, but it also brought in a lot of people that were just challenging to deal with. And so, so sorry, Josh had to deal with the customer support of that product for a while. How was that for you? Was it fun?
No, it was not.
It was a great learning experience.
Yeah, I don't think James liked me very much back then, so he grew to like me. But I think that's why he put me there. But yeah, with that, I just kind of like grew with the business. So I started in customer support 2 hours a day, and then James gave me this project, and this is one of the things that he does, is that he gives us, I would say, responsibility, not just delegating us tasks. So he gave me, we had some failed payments for LVA. And he said, dude, create a process to get these failed payments back on track. Literally the only thing he said to me. He did not give me any tasks, any steps, anything. He said, we're having failed payments, make a process. And then over a span of like 6 months, I think I saved him, or you guys, like $50,000 or something like that. So that was like the first thing where he's like, oh wait, maybe this guy's, he's got more to him. He's got some potential, kind of thing. Right. And eventually it turned into copywriting, and he realized I was a good copywriter. And then I was helping with the events. And so kind of like as the company grew, and then I was the production manager, and eventually it came into the director of customer success, but I just kind of grew as the company grew. So yeah, I would say before, like when I first joined, this department was pretty much non-existent. So
yeah.
It was all about the sales and the marketing and all that stuff. So yeah. I kind of grew with kind of like created this department. I feel like I've been in every role in every department. You know what I mean? Doing the live events and the, customer experiences, and, working with the coaches closely and everything. So it's just been an amazing experience to be a part of, to be honest.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, you've kind of been there from the ground up, because I mean, James has been in business for a while, but Business by Design hasn't been around for a while. You were there because if you were there during the LVA days, then Business by Design, it wasn't even hadn't even been created yet.
It was one of my first things I did to like get more hours, was editing the first version of Business by Design. I was in James's office, and he's recording module 3 and I'm editing module 1. So I was like editing the course. That was like one of the first things I ever did for him. And with the customer support as well. But that was pretty fun memory looking back. It's crazy now.
Yeah, seriously, because it's grown into, what it is today. Now, one of the things that, again, I've mentioned this a few times, that I think a lot of new entrepreneurs don't realize is the back end really is going to require a lot of systems. It's going to require a lot of process. It's going to require a team to handle that. At what point this is just like more of like a personal question, because that's one of the things we're building out now, is we're hiring and building out the back end system. But at what point do you think like a new entrepreneur, a new course creator would really need to sit down and start thinking about the back end process, like after the sale? Like, is it literally like after they make their first sale? Like, do they need to be doing $10,000 in sales? Do you find, after working with so many students as well, do you find a time where it would be necessary for someone to focus on that?
I can't think of a specific time, but whether you realize it or not, that role is always there. Maybe there's not a VA in it. Maybe you haven't hired someone yet, but that role already exists in your business. And so I just think it's really important to create, even if you only have a few members, let's say 5, you have 5 people.
Right.
It's really important to give those 5 people a great experience. Why? Because when you go to launch again, those are going to be the people that are not only cheering you on, but giving you testimonials, talking about the results that you gave them. And I see this a lot, and it's really sad to say, but it's like, if you people get disappointed when they have 5 people. They're like, oh, like I had a launch and I only got like a few people. It's like, dude, you got to be like grateful as fuck for those people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, those are like your top students or your founding members. And, if I feel like if you can't be grateful for, those, 5 people that come into your program, it's like, how could you handle, 10,000 or
Yeah.
1,000
Well,
or a
it's
ton
almost,
more?
I know this might be a little harsh, but like if you can't be grateful for the 5 that did buy, you don't deserve more than 5. Like you don't deserve more people than that. So I totally believe, and we do the same thing. It doesn't matter how many people come in. I'm great. And like a lot of times we have problems inside the business, like every business does. Things will break, processes will break, whatever. And it's hard, but I'm always like sitting back and going like, I'm just so grateful that we have these problems because it means we're making sales and we're impacting people's lives. And I think a lot of people forget that. Okay. So we're inside of my company, we're in the process of building out some of these things. I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here, cause I know I didn't send this question over to you before, but do you have any top processes or systems that you recommend people to start putting into place when it comes to after the sale? Like anything from like testimonial gathering to customer support or I don't know, whatever. Do you have any things that you would recommend that people focus on first to kind of like automate a little bit of the back end so it's not always like such a manual laborious task?
Well, since it's such like a broad question, I would say like there's not like one specific process or anything that's like transformed and entirely changed the business. I would say the biggest process or system or thing that we do is that first of all, we have like quite a few virtual assistants, and everyone that's on our team, and it could just be you could just be one person, is delegating responsibilities to VAs. And so that, I think in general, I don't know if that's a specific process, but that has changed like the entire business, because that not only does it free up the CEO, it frees up James to focus on the, what they call the 5% of activities, stuff that's actually, generating growth in the business and, making the money and everything. And without that, I don't think that James would be where he is today. And to add on top of that, if you do eventually develop a team, I think him delegating us responsibilities, not tasks, which is a massive difference, has allowed us to grow too. And that's why our team runs so smooth and efficiently now, is because James has allowed us to, he calls it like letting go of the bus, take the wheel of the business. And after so many years, we've learned so much and grew so much. And that became with a lot of failures too. Like we still mess up. We're an 8-figure business. We still mess up all the time. But if James didn't allow us that space to like mess up, that whole process of delegating responsibility has changed really everything for us. And that trickles down, like I said, to like, because then we're delegating responsibility and tasks to the VAs, and we're managing them, and we're learning, growing, becoming leaders, that kind of thing. So I would say that as a big picture has really changed everything.
Yeah, I love that. Can we get a little more granular on that? Like, how does it work? You said everyone on the team has a virtual assistant, or certain people have virtual assistants? And then what types of tasks are you giving them? Is it just different depending on what you're doing inside the company? Do you guys have a guideline on what gets handed down to the virtual assistant? Like, can you walk me through that a little bit?
Sure. Maybe it'd be easiest just to walk you through like a specific kind of like process that we just had, I guess. So we'll just I would just say for like my department, I would first start off by saying that James pretty much is like completely uninvolved. So the only thing he's really doing is just like content. He's doing coaching calls. And I would say that one of the things that we did, we just launched Next Level. So we had a whole process and campaign for that. And basically Next Level is application only. People apply. Active Campaign drops into an automation, and we use Monday.com. I'm not sure if you guys use it too, but we use it kind of project management software and communication, and it has all kinds of automation capabilities as well. But once the application comes in, we have a process for next level coaches to review the applications, to approve or deny. And then we have there's so many processes in this process. we create a whole automated thing to notify the coaches when a new app comes in. And then we have a Google Doc sheet that we created for the coaches to review, to see like, what are we looking for to accept people in the program? What are we not looking for? And then once it's approved, we have a VA drop them into an onboarding sequence. And then once they're in that onboarding sequence, there's all kinds of emails and stuff that are going out to onboard them, to make sure they're getting in the program, getting in the Facebook group, getting on the coaching calls, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I don't want to get too like deep into the weeds of it, but there's a lot of tags and everything that's involved in the processes and Active Campaign, and they automatically follow up with people if they're not getting onboarded. But either way, so those are kind of like the smaller tasks that we're either delegating to a coach or a VA. But as you can see, kind of like the CEO isn't really involved in like any of those steps. If you have the right systems and processes in place, it can kind of create that space for you. And, all James is really thinking about is that first coaching call for next level.
Well, he's living the digital CEO life. Yeah. Digital CEO life, baby. I love that. And when it comes to like the virtual assistants, I'm just going to, one part of the question is, does everyone on the team have a virtual assistant, or is it just certain people? Or does the department have like a virtual assistant?
Yeah, the department has multiple, both the marketing, sales, and customer success. We kind of all have our own. We kind of share them, I would say. We share our virtual assistants, but there's some that are more, we share them based on what tasks they're doing, because there's some that are really good at graphic design, and then, there's some that are good at automating and funnel stuff. So it's, it kind of just depends what the task is. We know which VA to give it to. Gotcha.
Okay. And then when it comes to the virtual assistants, do you guys, this is more of a personal question just because we've had issues with this with virtual assistants. Do you think, or do you guys ever have issues with them being on different time zones?
No.
Are they United States based?
No, most of them are in the Philippines, but a few of them, like one of them, Cess, she's an angel. She's the best. She actually works during the day in the US because her husband works during the night. So they're not on opposite schedules. She like works overnight, which is super ideal for us, because then she's awake the same hours as we're awake. But no, it's not typically an issue. I mean, it has been like sometimes in a few like small occasions, but no, we're really good at getting that stuff out and delegating it before we go to bed. So then when we know we wake up, it's going to be ready to go. Task is going to be done. Gotcha. And then we can do what we need to do.
Okay, cool. I think what I want to do is I actually want to hop into each 4 of those categories and just ask you some quick questions about each one of those. Are you up for that? Does that sound good?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So when it comes to events and coaching calls, I know for you guys, experience is absolutely vital. I mean, like even your mastermind members get like care packages with, I think one year you guys gave them iPads or something like that. Like customization is everything. So when it comes to events and it comes to that type of stuff, what are like the top things that you're looking for as the director when it comes to that area?
Sorry, you cut out a little bit. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. As the director of, someone who's responsible for everything that happens after the sale, when it comes to events, what are some of the key things that you guys look for to create an amazing experience at an event for your customers?
What do you mean by what are we looking for?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure you're not just like going and picking a venue and just randomly picking one. I'm sure you're looking for certain aspects or certain personalizations, or there's got to be, I would assume something that you personally like to see come into an event. Like if you didn't see these things at an event, you hired someone to put on an event for you guys, and there's certain things that didn't happen, you would be like, you messed up. What are those things that would, if missed, be a no-no?
For sure. I would say we have like just like certain preferences. I mean, there's things like obviously like a beautiful setting. We want an area where people are feeling open, abundant. So we love like natural light. We love just kind of like a bigger space than you think that you'll need. We love creating an experience with like food. My wife, Jilly, who most people probably know, she's the integrator for James, and she's like a huge foodie. So it's just like, it's kind of like all those little things combined just create a great experience. And obviously it's like, in my opinion, is like a lot of it's on the CEO too, to create the experience, like the content and the framing of the whole event, create an environment where everyone feels psychologically safe to be vulnerable. So part of it's like the content too, because you need to have, how do I even say that? It needs to be framed in a specific way so people feel comfortable, making a space available for a transformation, I guess I could say. I don't know how to.
No, I mean, it makes sense. You could have the most beautiful venue in the world, but then the speaker gets up, or someone who's just like a big jerk, or just doesn't really give a crap about people, and then the experience is going to go way down.
Or being salesy or something like that.
Totally. Yep. Makes sense.
I think everyone's been to an event where it's kind of like they call it the pitch fest, and it's really kind of salesy and sleazy. So that's never a good experience either.
Yeah, totally. When it comes to customer experience, what are some key things that you like to see or focus on? And I really mean like inside the programs. Is there anything specifically you guys do inside the program, or something you do after someone bought to really kind of create a really good experience in a digital course-based business?
For sure. I mean, we definitely do a lot of contests and like giveaways and stuff like that, because we really want to do anything we can to like incentivize our people to take action and get results. So like literally we'll do stuff like give out like laptops and like we'll do all kinds of contests. I know I talked about the case study contest earlier, right. Which is basically we're sharing, all these BBD members are sharing their results and transformations since they joined BBD, and kind of the entire community votes on their favorites. And we give away a bunch of prizes and stuff to the top winners. So, I mean, it's just really anything to get them excited and take action. And I really love, every time we do, it's just like inspiring the entire community, and doing stuff like that case study contest shows everyone what's possible. And then also, watching all those case study videos always gives the team a good, wholesome cry session.
I love it, especially James. I love that.
Yeah. So we do, a lot of like contests and giveaways to like incentivize people to like take action and like get results now and jump in the course now. We do.
I like that type of stuff, because that's one of the things we focus on a lot in our team, is like something that has a multiple dimensional benefit, or multiple, like there's a two-sided benefit there. So like when you guys do your BBD contest, there's multiple benefits there. Your number one is you guys are getting a lot of testimonials, case studies, and stuff that you get to use in your marketing. But secondly, it's a great inspiration to all the members, to inspire them to start working again, or maybe they lost focus, or to refocus them, or just to motivate them. And then same with the team, is there's so many different benefits that it's not like, hey, we need testimonials, so we're just going to send out one email and people can email us in. It's like, no, let's broadcast this. Let's make this an event. Let's give away money. Let's inspire and motivate people, which ultimately makes an amazing customer experience. Like, I don't think I've ever been a part of a program, and I forget, do you guys is the grand prize 20 grand? Am I remembering that correctly?
That's for, you're thinking of our breakthrough of the year contest. I think that's 25 grand actually. So for our group coaching program, Next Level, we give away $25,000 for, and basically the whole community votes on who had the biggest breakthrough of the year kind of thing. And we give away 25K, which is like really fun. Yeah. I can't remember exactly what the prizes are for the case study contest. It's a slew of prizes. Yeah. It's it's like a bunch of stuff. It's like, some one-on-one time with James and some money and some massages and like, you get to be on the podcast. It's like a bunch of stuff.
I love that.
So you were, always doing stuff like that. And like you said, always trying to leverage those opportunities for the business too. Cause I'm thinking now there's a thing that we do. It's called like the 30-day FOMO promo. So it's like, basically we entice everyone to get results in the first 30 days of the program. And then on the back end, you can go back to all the people that didn't sign up and be like, hey, look at all these people that are getting results in 30 days. Are you sure you don't want to join BBD still or next level or whatever?
Right.
So they're kind of getting FOMO, like, oh shoot, I should have joined. And
I know we were just in Sedona with you guys. And I don't know if you were there for this part of it, but we were at that mastermind and we did this thing called the bingo challenge. And it was basically to get everyone in there to get them through the program, start getting results, like get over your fears. And it was amazing. We had so many breakthroughs and so many things post. And then Jilly or James, one of them was like, oh, the 30-day FOMO promo. And we're like, what? They're like, yeah. So did you go back to all the people that didn't buy and say like, look at all the results? We're like, no. And they're like, idiots. Why didn't you do that? We're like, well, we didn't know. That's genius. It's so smart. So I love that. I love that we were following your footsteps without realizing it. We left out the most important part.
It's my idea the whole time.
It's so funny. But again, that's what I love is that you guys are doing things like you take things that people would normally just do as a one-off. Like I need testimonials, so I'm going to send this. And there's no consideration of like, can we make an experience out of this? Can we involve other people? Is there multiple benefits? And you guys seem to always do that with everything you do, which is
including live events. It's like, dude, we're getting B-roll, we're getting testimonials. Obviously, usually we'll sell something from stage, and it's like we're literally doing we'll use it on social media. We're like leveraging every single opportunity that we can because that's the best investment of your time, right?
Right.
Leveraging.
Yeah. So, I also love too that James doesn't shy away from spending money on experience as well. Like $25K for a grand prize is a good chunk of change.
I mean, yeah, we definitely don't in all programs. And if whether you're a partner or whether it's, we're giving away money for a program, for a contest or whatever, we go all out.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. I'm going to skip over the coaches one unless there's something about the coaching program that you guys really seem to do. Is there actually, I do have a question. How do you manage 40 coaches? That's a lot.
Well, recently we just, hired a master head coach. So, that helps, but it's not too hard because how do I say this? It's not too difficult because we basically they're kind of like self-managed. We do keep track of their performance inside the Facebook groups every week. But any of the programs where we have like a ton of coaches, which is like Business by Design, actually, they will report almost like their own performance numbers. And then for next level, I actually personally go in there and make sure that the coaches are all serving the members. And we have a performance metric. What we're doing is like coaching conversations per post. So I calculate basically how many times, if I'm a new member in next level and they post, it's like how many coaches are responding to that post. Right. And it's hot. In next level, they're very spoiled. It's like 3 coaches. If you're a customer and you write something, it's like 3 coaches per post are like all there to support you with whatever you need. And our next level coaches are amazing. Most of them have been with us the longest. So, yeah. Gotcha.
And Business by Design has coaches as well, right?
Yep. We have 9 coaches in the Facebook group there that are in there every day supporting our members. All of our coaches are incredible. And then we kind of have like a group of coaches, and everyone was also personally trained by James and his coaching methodology. So the other 25 coaches or so are kind of just like, I would say, like commission-based, opportunity-based. We do all kinds of bonus packages and affiliate launches and stuff. And we'll do like coaching pods and stuff. And we have another offer, BBD Plus, which is just like a one-on-one thing. But they're all trained by James. They're all amazing. So, and they're all just there to help you and support you with whatever you need. Cause Business by Design is it is literally everything you need. But then you still, what we found, the reason why we added coaches, and it wasn't part of the first iteration, the reason why we added coaches is because what we found is people are still getting stuck. Some people still aren't even getting started. And if you have everything you need, which is business by design, right in front of you, all the steps laid out, step 1, step 2, Lego instructional manual, super simple. Why aren't you doing anything with it? So that's where the coaches come in. They're like, oh, okay. It's like, why, what's getting in your way? Is it, it's usually internal, as it's like, some fears or imposter syndrome, or there's something getting in their way from getting clients to take action. So that's where the coaches, to me, I believe, are the most valuable.
Yeah. And I love that, because I think one of the things that a lot of people get hung up on is we have a mutual friend, Dr. Shannon Irvin, and she talks about gas pedal and brake things. And most people want the gas pedal things. They're looking for the thing that will propel them forward. So like, what's the strategy and what's the information and what do I need to do? Like, they think that's what's going to drive them forward. But if they have their foot on the brake at the exact same time, it doesn't matter how many gas pedal things you have, because your foot's still on the brake. So sometimes we need to get that foot removed off the brake, and then boom, we take off. And most course creators, most program creators, and program owners, they don't do that. They focus mainly on strategy, and they're like, well, why are 1% of the people seeing results? I gave them everything they need to do. And it's like, because there's other issues besides just knowing the tutorial to follow, So that's what I love, that you guys have both of those things there, and you get it. And not only do you get it, but you have a coaching methodology that James created that is designed to remove specifically those types of fears in course creators and digital CEOs, which I love. Okay, cool. The last department that I want to kind of go into is customer support. Is there anything you guys do to streamline that or make it easier? Or is it literally just like a question comes in and we just give a customized answer every single time?
No. Yeah, there's a few smaller things we do. We have things that are just called like canned responses. So it's like, basically it's already like a pre-written, like when there's like frequently asked questions, it's a pre-written thing that we already have written out. So customer support's not in there 10 hours a day, like hacking away at customized responses every time. And like, how do I say this again? So especially when it comes to launches, specifically for Business by Design, because that's the biggest one. And when the card open period in Business by Design is by far when we have the busiest customer support of the entire year. Right. So we have all kinds of canned responses basically by now for like every single question that you can think of. So literally Alicia is our customer support rep. All she has to do is, basically copy and paste. And then there's something else I was going to say and I can't forget. I'm going to forget it. No, I forget. It's gone. It's going to come back to me.
It's gone. It's there. It's gone.
Oh, damn it. I had it. I forgot it.
That's all right. It'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the customer support, I guess that makes sense. Like having the customized responses. So it's not just customized emails every single time.
I remember.
Okay.
I remember. So also, so we don't have to do so much communication. What we realized is like over the years, there was too much communication between customer support and the rest of the team. And that was really taking away from the tasks the team had to do, the sales, the marketing, whatever tasks they're doing. Cause like during launch season, like everyone's busy. So what we also do is we create for every launch, we create a customer support reference sheet. So it's like literally like all the details, the dates, the links, like every single thing that a customer support rep would need to know, so they don't have to go back to the rest of the team and be like, hey, James, hey, Josh, hey, Jilly, like, what's the answer to this question? Or, what's the date on this? Can I get the link to that? So we create a whole reference sheet so they can just reference that. And we actually have a whole, like, basically a reference sheet for when we hire a new customer support rep. There's a whole, like, we created like a whole training, I want to call it like a training center or a reference center where they can just go in there and pretty much find everything they need. So it's almost like customer support's like hands off and they don't even need us.
Oh, so I love that.
Pretty amazing. Like I used to get, years ago, I was getting every day in Slack, boom, 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 question. Like right now, maybe once a week, not even.
Yeah.
So it's doing all those things has helped free the rest of the team up tremendously and made it easier on the customer support rep.
Yeah, I love that. So like if, for example, someone came in and was like, hey, I can't find the opt-in page to the Nail Your Niche workshop. Instead of customer support coming to you or Jillian saying, where's the link for this? You just have a sheet with the dates, the link's already in there, all of that stuff ready to go. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, that's correct. That's exactly how it is.
Okay, cool. Amazing. Okay, great. So I have a couple more questions for you before we wrap it up. I want to hear two things. Number one, what have you personally learned from BBD and James? The next one's going to be, why do you guys believe in BBD? But let's start with the first one. What have you personally learned from like working underneath James or with James, and then also from everything you've done with Business by Design?
Wow. That's a really loaded question, man. I mean, if I'm gonna be real, like James has like been the catalyst for changing my entire life and my perspective on life in general. I think I said earlier, I'm like a completely different person than I was 6 years ago when I started working with him. But I can ground it a little bit with a specific example that actually happened yesterday in a way that James literally changed my perspective in the context of business. So, and this is like very relevant to anyone that's just starting their business or someone at multiple seven figures, because it was around goal setting. And most people are out there, if they're launching, whether they're at $0 or they're at 10 million, they probably have a goal for said launch. So in our mastermind, and I don't want to name any names, so let's just call this person X. Okay. Person X posted about how their team was, they just wrapped up a launch, and they just posted how their team was not happy, they're disappointed, they're frustrated with their launch results. And while their revenue doubled in size from the previous two launches, they were less than half of what their goal was. So because they didn't hit their goal and they were less than half their goal, they're feeling really deflated in a way, and felt like it was an unsuccessful launch. Oh my gosh. And so they were asking in the Facebook group, like, how do I shift myself? How do I shift my team from feeling this way? So at Team Wedmore, we look at goals a little differently. I look at goals a little differently. And that's because of James. And because he communicated, framed, and shifted my perspective years ago when it comes to goals. So the way you can shift your team and yourself is it's really an opportunity for you, the CEO, to choose why you set goals and decide what it means if you don't hit them. And why we set goals is to push ourselves personally and professionally to do differently than last time. Like, what are we doing to stretch ourselves in pursuit of the goal? Right. Who did we have to become? If we're doing those things, those are the wins. Because James always likes to say, what got you here, won't get you there. Right. But so if we hit the goal, it's great. If not, I literally don't care. It literally doesn't matter. It's just some random number that we just made up. But what is important is that we're growing, not only the business, but also ourselves. Right. So, just that, like an example is like, if you're at 1 million a year and revenue, and you set a goal for 10 million, you end the year at 5 million. Do you see like how from this perspective, being disappointed, frustrated, or unhappy would be silly? It's like you just 5x'd. Yeah. And it's, in this case, person X just doubled their biggest launch ever. Right. And the team grew, and they learned in the process, like, that's winning. Like, that's the goal. And you could say, like, if you never even set that stretch goal, you never would have pushed yourself to do differently. And so then the goal actually becomes the cause for creating your leap in growth, which is, why this is actually what's important when it comes to setting goals. And, I'll kind of say again, the framing and adopting of this goal and setting perspective is the responsibility of the CEO, aka all you beautiful people listening, so that your team and you see goals differently. And before James did so for me, I know I would have felt unhappy, disappointed, and frustrated when we didn't hit our launch goals for BBD in 2018, right. 2019, and 2020. We didn't hit our goals any of those years. Yeah. And yet in each instance, they were the biggest launches our company's ever seen.
Right.
So, and that was because of James. So, I mean, that's just one small thing, but just from being, you know, around the Business by Design community, being around James, being around the team, those are the kinds of impact you can have, you know what I mean? So,
well, it's amazing too, because it's just even listening to the way in which you're describing things. You know me, messaging guy, so I'm always paying attention to words and language and a lot of that stuff. And so even the way you described it even the way you described it is like, so funny. I'll tell you what happened in a second. The way you described what was going on, you described everything as like an opportunity. We had an opportunity for this and an opportunity. There's even those small little words you can tell right where your perspective is at. Sorry, while I was answering that, so we recorded my garage and my mom is taking my kids right now, like out for Lily's birthday, and our Yukon is right there. So when she turns the Yukon on, my phone automatically connects to her car. So my mom turned on my phone, connected, and my music started playing. And I thought it was Matt. I was like, Matt, turn your damn phone off, bro. We're recording a podcast and it was my phone playing music. Oh man. But again, we don't edit anything on this episode, so we're going live with it. Yeah, I mean, I love that. And I love that you use that example too, because I think that example, because we are like, as leaders or as a CEO, we are in this weird predicament where we want to set the big goals because we want to live by that be, do, have model. On our last launch, we wanted to hit $3 million. That was our goal. I wanted my team to be the team that would hit 3 million. I want them to grow. I want them to look at their department differently. I want to look at how they can improve and how they can become not a better person, but like how they can be the person that, you know, has a $3 million launch. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I don't want them discouraged if we don't hit 3 million. And we didn't. We hit 1.6, and which is about half of what we wanted to hit. But that was like almost a 100% increase of our best launch to date. And it's like, in what world would you ever feel bummed about almost doubling your best launch ever? So you have to be really careful with that. And so I'm glad that you shared that as one of the examples, because I think it's super important for everyone to listen, is like, you as the leader on your team, you need to set the tone of what the goal is and what it really means to the team. And if you don't, you can run into instances like your mastermind member where teams discouraged even though they had the best launch of their life. I love that. Okay. So I want to go through one more question, which is, why is BBD so important to you guys, and why would it be really important to the listeners? I want you to go through it, and then I have one thing I want to say about Business by Design, and we'll kind of wrap up after that. So yeah, what does BBD mean to you guys, and why is it so important?
What does it mean to me? Why is it important? I would say that, I mean, just one piece of it is, I feel like, and I hear this from our customers, I'm not just making this up on my own, but it's kind of like an all-inclusive program with like everything you need. So it's like, after this, it's like, I feel like a lot of people are buying a bajillion courses. It's like, you don't really need everything after this. It's literally a Lego instructional manual for everything in online business, literally step-by-step processes, execution guides. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do that. And it's all laid out right in front of you. So, I just feel like I've also witnessed from working with so many people with James, I've witnessed so many people, and people are just like, just tell me what to do. And it's like, well, here's your chance. It's like, here's step 1, like, is BBD. And then also another big thing that I see, in kind of a misconception, I guess, that I've observed, is that especially when it comes to creating content and creating a course, is that more content equals more value. And I think that's false. It's like, value comes from speed and ease. You can get your people results. Yeah. And that's why actually we've added something new this year. And I don't think we've said this publicly anywhere. You probably know.
What is it?
We haven't said it anywhere to partners. We haven't said it to customers, anyone. So big announcement alert. But James is literally teaching the Business by Design course live this year. So anybody that joins this year, like he's literally going to do a live every week and jump into the program with content with you and go live, show you exactly what to do so you can nail all the steps every week. And it's, and we realize even more so, kind of like when we added the coaches, like this is, BBD is a results program. We feel like it transcends a course. That's why we have the coaches. That's why we're adding this live content element. It's why we, provide simplicity step by step, every step of the way. So, I love that. I just think people are going to be really excited with that. And that's only going to accelerate everyone that joins results. So, I'm super excited.
Yeah. And that's what I love about everything you guys do. It's always about the customer and their results first. And I didn't know that. I didn't know he was going to be teaching live and doing that, which is unbelievable and amazing. Okay, cool. Yeah. And that, to me, I think one of the reasons why I feel like BBD is so necessary for a lot of people starting out is because a lot of things that we talked about today, like the systems, the processes, all of that stuff, that's literally what BBD is. Like, people think it's a course that's going to show you step by step every little detail. And I mean, it does, but really at the end of the day, it is a process and systems driven thing where it's like, hey, you want a webinar set up. You don't need to be the person to go set it up. Like what Josh said, go hire a VA and then send them to the webinar process inside of Business by Design. They will figure out and know exactly how to go set up a webinar. It's like a time-saving thing as well as a program and with the coaching element as well.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, I loved all of this. I'm so grateful for you coming on and sharing your wisdom with us. I like to wrap up every episode with 4 questions, like rapid fire questions that I'm going to ask you as well. So normally I'm asking the entrepreneur, but I'm so ready and excited to hear your answers. So with that said, when you make decisions, do you make them more with your head or your heart?
My heart.
100%. Love it. And then do you believe that entrepreneurship should be taught in schools?
I want to say, hell yeah. But what I also want to say is that I feel like even more important to get into schools is kind of like that inner work. It's like, where's the emotions 101 class? Like why isn't that a part of school? Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I don't want to go off on a tangent on
I mean, I agree. I think after hearing so many people's answers, was originally like, yeah, it should be taught in schools. But I'm also more of like, well, the elements that make a successful entrepreneur should be taught in schools. Like you said, the emotions, or even just like how to budget things or taxes or how to look at life and a lot of that type of stuff. Optimism.
I feel like in a lot of ways, it's even kind of like school's kind of anti-entrepreneur. It's like, there's not even an entrepreneur class. You know what I mean? It's like get a job, get your salary, do your specialization, whatever.
They really kind of bring you up to fit into the system, which entrepreneurship doesn't fit into. So I agree with that 100%. Where do you think you're going to be in 5 years?
Holy shit. I have no idea, man. Okay. Because
you're always living in the present.
Yeah, bro. Always in the present. No, it's just like, if you asked me that 5 years ago, there's no way I would have guessed where I am now. So the growth and the journey and like everything is like, I'm literally sitting in my first house that I just bought, and it's like, it's beautiful and it's remodeled. It's like a dream home. And it's like, if you asked me 5 years ago, I don't even think I would think I own a house right now. Yeah. And it's like, I don't even know. And where we are with the business too, I told you it's growing by 10 times the revenue. And the team's massive. It was only 4 of us doing, $100,000 launches back then. And now we're just doing these massive multi-million-dollar. It's like, I have no clue, man. I don't know. I'll be right where I am. That's where I'll be.
You know what? I think that's the best answer I've heard from anyone on the podcast so far. I love that answer. Okay. Last question. Yeah. What is the one pivotal moment from your life? Like one moment that kind of changed everything. There might be multiple, but pick one, the biggest one.
The biggest one. Well, damn, there's 2 coming to my mind.
All right. Share them both.
Okay. Well, the first one's just working with James, man. It's just like when I started working for James, like that was the catalyst for like everything that changed in my life. He just working with him and the team and even meeting his friends like you and Jim and just the environment that I've been surrounded in over the last 6 years has just completely changed me and shifted my perspective on just about how I see everything in the world and everything in my life. So I would say the first one was that, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but the second one, which is actually kind of a part of that, was and I think you've talked about in your podcast, but I had like basically chronic pain in my entire body. I was basically a crippled at 28. I had chronic pain for like 15 years, plantar fasciitis in both feet, back problems, ankle problems. Couldn't stand, sit, do anything without, and I was doing all the things, massage and chiropractor and physical therapy and literally everything that modern day medicine doctors tell you to do. And my pain was just getting worse and worse. And then James recommended to me this book, and I think also to you, that changed my perspective on where pain comes from. And today, I haven't had pain in 5 years. I run marathons. I go hiking every week. I can sit, sleep, stand however I want, zero pain. So that was like, for me personally, that changed the trajectory of my whole life. Cause I think I'd be in a wheelchair right now, had multiple surgeries probably. Yeah. And instead I'm here just feeling pain free and I'm so freaking grateful, dude. It was so much pain. I know I see people in pain too. And it's just like, it hurts. I'm going to cry right now. But it's just like, I'm so grateful to be able to move without pain and that this all happened because it literally changed the trajectory of my whole life.
Yeah. And that book is the Great Pain Deception, right?
Yeah, it's The Great Pain Deception by Steve Ozanich.
By who?
Steve Ozanich. He actually, I think he's on James's podcast as well. Okay. I think it's episode 125, but and I recommend the book. The book is what did it for me, and it changed my whole life. So if any of you out there in any kind of chronic pain, read the book.
I tell people about the book all the time. And, you already know my story, but for the listeners, I broke my back in high school, or from high school to college. And then ever since then, just kept having back pain once a year. Like my back would be thrown out. And I remember one year it was so bad and so intense, I couldn't even get off the bed. Like I remember sitting in the car, Lily was Will, one of them was in the car. And I had built up enough strength to like take them somewhere and come back. But I sat in the car for 20 minutes because I was too afraid to get out of the seat because I knew it would shoot an intense amount of pain through my back. And it did. And I remember just sitting there and then crawling in bed and being in bed for days. And I remember talking to James and I said, dude, this is the worst back pain I've ever had. And keep in mind, I broke my back like 15 years earlier. No, not even more than that, probably 18 years earlier. My back was healed. Like there's no reason for my back to be going out, right? But I've just been told and conditioned that you have a bad back and that's what happens. Read the book. Within 20 minutes after reading the book, I was like walking around the living room dancing. I mean, I read the book and implemented what it said. And Jacqueline saw me walking down the hall. She's like, no, you're going to hurt yourself. And I just started dancing. She started screaming, what are you doing? She's like, you're going to hurt yourself. I was like, no, I'm healed. I healed myself. I read the book. I mean, it's unfreaking believable. Now, I know we're getting off on a tangent, but that was, again, one of the best pivotal moments I've heard because I've experienced the exact same thing. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. And it kind of hurts me when I see people in pain and I tell them about the book and then they don't read the book. I'm like, what are you doing? Do you just like hurting? Like, do you just enjoy that pain or what? I don't get it.
Story of my life, man. People, they're not going to, unless they're ready to heal, they're not going to. I didn't pick up that book and I think the author talks about it too. It's like until you hit rock bottom. Yeah. It's like you hit rock bottom and you're doing everything and everything to heal and it's not working. It's like, okay, now I'll read this book because I'm a complete cripple and I can't even move for 2 seconds without pains.
Right.
So now I'll pick this thing up and it's like, it's not until it's that bad that usually people are willing to take the action. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yep. 100%. Well, Josh, again, I'm so grateful for you spending an hour or so with us today and kind of giving us a behind the scenes look inside of BBD and James's company, and just so grateful for our friendship as well, man. So thank you. Thanks for being here.
And thank you, man. I'm just honored and grateful. And I don't think I ever said to at some point in the podcast, James has changed my life, but so have you, man. I mean,
Thanks.
you're my number one to call when I need a perspective shift. So, and I'm not feeling so good. So I'm just so grateful for you and appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it is a great circle of friends that we have. That's for damn sure. And I'm glad to be a part of it with you. All right, man. Have a good day. And for all of you guys who have not left us a review on iTunes, make sure you guys head over if you enjoyed this episode and do that. And if you're interested in learning more about Business by Design, attending James's free training that's going on, or any of that good stuff, just check the show notes out. We have links to everything. And when Business by Design opens up, I might have some special goodies for you guys that you're going to get absolutely for free, but more on that in the future. So take care, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out another episode of the New Generation Entrepreneur Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, go below, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you click on that bell icon and get notified every time we drop a new episode. Now, if you're looking for the show notes, we have them linked underneath this video, as well as our social media handles and some links to free training and offers that we drop from time to time to help you guys even further. So go check those out if you're interested, and thank you so much for tuning in to the New Generation Entrepreneur Podcast.